Thank you. Dr. Phillip Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Resigning ministerial office has been an incredibly difficult decision. It was in order to support my right honourable friend, my learned friend and indeed trusted friend in his attempt to amend the government's amendment to Lord's Amendment 19. And I am devastated to have taken this decision. I owe this House an explanation, and there are 4 points I would make. For me personally, this is a matter of deep principle. I believe in the Burkean principle that our institutions guarantee our human rights. Most important of all, a government's first responsibility is to protect its citizens. This is usually understood in military terms, but I believe it applies more generally. It means that sometimes when a majority of our people want something that is against the good of society, government and parliament have a responsibility to protect us. This was the case with the death penalty when for decades politicians went against the majority view and refused to reinstate it. Now I believe it needs to be the case with the Brexit process.
Will the honourable gentleman give way?
Of course I will give way.
Congratulations and well done, sir.
I thank my honourable friend for Brexit. I believe that there is growing evidence which shows that the Brexit policy our government is currently pursuing to deliver on the 2016 referendum is detrimental to the people we were elected to serve.
Would my honourable friend give way?
Of course.
Can I congratulate my honourable friend for his courageous decision? And will you agree with me that there is no majority in this House or in the country for a destructive, cliff-edge, no-deal Brexit?
I would agree with my honourable friend, and I would also add that I am not convinced that there is a majority for such a Brexit in my own constituency. It is fundamentally important that Parliament should have a voice so it can influence the final outcome in the interests of the people it serves. A fake choice between a potentially bad deal and a cliff-edge no deal, a vote between bad and worse, is not a meaningful choice. It would breach such fundamental principles of human rights and parliamentary sovereignty that we would not recognise it as being valid in other countries. It is not that our Parliament should accept. It is not one that our Parliament should accept. In all conscience, I cannot bring myself to vote for it in this bastion of liberty, freedom and human rights. The people of my constituency of Bracknell are my first and most important responsibility as their Member of Parliament. Certainly it now seems inevitable that the people, economy and culture of my own constituency will be affected negatively. And I cannot ignore that it is to them that I owe my first responsibility as their Member of Parliament. I must be able to speak out on their behalf on this greatest political issue of our age. It is important at this point to clarify that the Brexit vote in the Bracknell constituency in the 2016 referendum was not clear-cut. The Bracknell Forest part of the constituency was marginally in favour of Brexit. The Wokingham part was more strongly in favour of Remain. But this is not about whether we Brexit or not. I voted to remain in the 2016 referendum and still believe that despite the European Union's manifest flaws, this would have been the better strategic course for our country at the time. In this interconnected world, it is nations with allies that will thrive. But we cannot and should not turn back the clock. The point is that if Brexit is worth doing, then it is worth doing well. It is a huge sacrifice to give up ministerial office. For the last 2 years, I have been completely committed to enabling our criminal justice system to serve our society better, in a small way bringing some influence to bear to help make our society more just and secure, and the experience has been deeply humbling. I am incredibly sad that I cannot reconcile continuing in ministerial office with representing my constituents' best interests or my own integrity. I fully support Theresa May's leadership and strong Conservative government. It would be dishonourable and indeed unprofessional. It would undermine the leadership that the Prime Minister and our party can give our country and that it so badly needs at this time if I were either to keep quiet or to criticise the government's approach from within. In politics, as in the medical profession, trust and integrity are fundamental. The principle of collective responsibility is also important, and that is why I felt that I had to choose this course. I urge my parliamentary colleagues to follow my lead and vote to give our great institution, this House of Commons, our constituents and our country the powers it needs to leave our children a legacy of which we can all be proud.
Hear,